We're so pleased that the baseball ferry is finally a reality in New York City. This ferry is the latest example, of the department's efforts to bring New Yorkers to the waterfront. Among the things that we've been doing this summer, we've got canoeing classes for inner city youth going in the Hudson River and in the lower harbor. And we've got the floating cinema traveling around from borough to borough. And I'd like you all to, if you're not here, go on over to, tonight we're going to be in the Bronx at Orchard Beach. Tomorrow night at Little Bay Park, we're having cartoon festivals. And next week we're going to have 4 performances in Brooklyn. So look for that and come and join the festivities. Now I'd like to introduce Robert Jaffe, who is really the brains behind all of this tonight. Robert, with his tenacity and his vision, has put together the ferry to the ballpark. Robert?
I can't tell you how happy I was to see that the Mets acquired Frank Viola just this past week. I remember when I was in the 10th grade and growing up in New Haven, Connecticut, and I had the opportunity to almost go to see Frank pitch against Ronnie Darling at Yale Field back in 1981. Unfortunately, I had other obligations that I had to go on a class field trip to Walden Pond in Massachusetts. That was reading Henry David Thoreau back then. Anyways, I didn't get to see that College World Series, but there's one series I'm certain in the near future I will see, and that is a ferry series in New York City. There simply must be a ferry series. Both the Yankees and the Mets have stadia located very close to water bodies. The Yankees right by Harlem River, the Mets right by Flushing Bay. And, you know, since Davey Johnson's been the manager of the Mets have become really contenders. And especially in 1985, I remember there was talk on and off of there being a Subway series. But factually, there hasn't been a Subway series since '56. And I think in order to revive the concept of an all-city series, we must promote the idea of a ferry series. Now, I want to say a little something about the commissioner of Major League Baseball's plans. He may not be here tonight, but in my mind, he's really the bard of baseball. That is Bart Giamatti. And he's really been an inspiration to me, and I think to all fans who like the purity of the game. Bart Giamatti thinks of baseball as being an epic poem. And let me just say that like all epic poems, our voyage today to the ball game will include a descent into the underworld as we enter Hell's Gate, as Commissioner Stern mentioned, and pass by Downing Stadium on Randall's Island and the Astoria swimming pool at Astoria Park, 2 Olympic facilities where great athletes, great heroes have trained in the past for competition. And while we may not pass the dangerous rocks of Scylla and the whirlpool of Charybdis as Odysseus did, we will want to avoid the shallows of the Bronx Kills and the vortices of the aforementioned Hell's Gate. And while we need not fear the presence of one-eyed giants like the Cyclops or enchantresses like Circe, we might all follow the example of Odysseus and tie ourselves to our seats, if not the mast, in order to avoid the lure of the sirens and certain imprisonment on Rikers Island. In fact, I think that if the baseball ferry had been around back in mythological days, I don't think Calypso would have detained Odysseus for all that time, and I really think that she would have said, Odysseus, let's take the ferry to the ball game, or at least to see some great athletes perform. I'd finally like to say that the long-term problem, as Giamatti has stated, is to maintain an environment of sufficient agreeableness so that people will still want to come out and not just consume their leisure visually at home. Without fans who enjoy being at the ballpark live, the whole enterprise does not exist. Unquote. I think the baseball ferry will improve the quality of the experience of baseball fans en route to the ballpark, as Commissioner Stern has stated, and I think that it will help to preserve the epic poem of baseball. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob Jaffe, for that address. I assume you will leave us with a written copy of it, which we can have transcribed and published in the Daily Plan. Okay? Please leave it as this is your last day at Parks. You've done a wonderful job. The Giamatti references come from the fact that Mr. Jaffe graduated from Yale College a year or so ago and happily spent a very fine year with us working with Miss Buttonweezer, and certainly did splendidly in planning as well as in poetry.